Going to adjourn the council meeting. Call. Oh, I'm sorry. Call to order. That was short. Everybody gets to go home now. All right. We have, doing the invocation tonight will be Mr. Alex Lemons, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be done by Sergeant Jacob Brown. If you'd stand with me, Mr. Lemons, if you would come to the microphone, and after that, Officer Brown.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Thank God we're here today. I'm just going to say a little word of prayer, which we all need. May we all bow our head, please. Father God, in the name of Jesus, Lord, we want to thank you, Lord, for being so good to each one of us, Lord. Touch our heart, Lord. Make us whole. Lead us the right way, Lord. And we want to thank you so much for being so good, Lord. For waking us up this morning with all our limbs working, Lord. You are so good. Keep your arms around us, Lord, because we need you very much, Lord. We need you each and every day, Lord, because you are so good, Lord. We can't thank you enough, Lord. If we had 1,000 tongues, Lord, we still can't thank you enough, Lord. Just watch over us, Lord. Touch our heart, Lord. Lead us the right way. In Jesus' name, I do pray. Amen. Amen.
Sergeant Brown. The microphone, do you mind? Okay. It's helpful for the people that are watching by video.
Repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Mr. Lemons I don't have a bio, but I do know that you are an active, involved member with the Senior Center, so we appreciate that. Thank you for doing the prayer tonight. And for Sergeant Jacob Brown, started policing at the Villa Rica Police Department in 2008, retired in 2020, came back after a short 4-year retirement, have been married for 24 years to the same wonderful woman, Christy Brown, and have 3 sons that you are extremely proud of. Thank you, Sergeant. We're going to move into our ceremonial presentations. We have a 10-year service recognition. Who on staff? It's okay, Louise, you're doing that one.
So this evening we have Katie Goffrey. She's been with the city for 10 years. She started out with the city in the community development department, started first as a part-timer, moved into full-time. She provided clerical support and helped issue permits. She stayed in that position for about 3 years, and then she moved on back to onto our team of finance, in which we love having her there. You know, she's a great access to our team. She moved back with us and under a title of finance clerk, worked learning all of our little systems, our financial system. She did so great. She's fast learner, smart. Next thing I know, I was cross-training her on helping us with accounts payable. And a couple of years later, she moved into accounts payable, and that's the position she holds now. But Katie is just a wonderful person. She's smart, sincere, integrity, and we just love having her on our team. Things would not be the same without her. And it's kind of funny, she's the youngest person on our team, but has the most city service on our team. And Katie grew up here in Villa Rica, and we're just thankful for your service to the city. It's been great watching you grow in your role, and look forward to the next 10 years and where you develop here with the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. This is also, well, we have Georgia Cities Week coming up, April 21 through April 26. The Georgia Municipal Association is pleased to again sponsor Georgia Cities Week from April 21st through April 26th. This gives cities the opportunity to share information about the valuable services city provide to residents, including an inside look into city operations, how cities positively impact their quality of life. It highlights successful community projects, infrastructure enhancements. It connects residents with one another and builds or improves working relationships with state leaders and legislators. Going into its 26th year, Georgia Cities Week is also an opportunity to celebrate community achievements and recognize volunteers and city employees. We also have a proclamation. We've got a lot of ceremonial presentations today. We have a proclamation. May is also Older Citizens Month. And we have some of y'all representing here tonight. Thank you for taking the time to come. Oh. Do you mind if I do the older citizens first? Okay, all right, thank you. Whereas every May, the Administration for Community Living leads the nation's observance of Older Americans Month, OAM, a time to recognize older Americans' contributions, highlight aging trends, and reaffirm our commitment to serving older adults. And whereas the 2025 theme, Flip the Script on Aging, focuses on transforming how society perceives, talks about, and approaches aging. It encourages individuals and communities to challenge stereotypes and dispel misconceptions. This year, join us in honoring older adults' contributions, exploring the many opportunities for staying active and engaged as we age, and highlighting the opportunities for purpose, exploration, and connection that comes with aging. And whereas the city of Villa Rica includes a growing number of older Americans who contribute their time, wisdom, and experience to our community. And whereas the city of Villa Rica is stronger when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds are included and encouraged to make their mark. And whereas the city of Villa Rica recognizes the importance of physical, mental, social, and emotional well-being of its citizens, and whereas the city of Villa Rica recognizes the need to create a community that offers the services older adults may need to make choices about how they age, and whereas the city of Villa Rica can support our aging community members by not limiting our thinking about aging, exploring and combating stereotypes, emphasizing the many positive aspects of aging, embracing our community's diversity, promoting independence, inclusion, and participation, engaging older adults through recreation, education, and services. I therefore be it resolved that May 2025 be designated as Older Americans Month in the city of Villa Rica. We urge every resident to celebrate our older citizens, help us create an inclusive society, and accept the challenges of flexible thinking around aging.
Thank you, Mayor and Council, for giving us this opportunity to recognize our seniors. Just wanted to give you a few little things, but a lot of things that the seniors are going to be doing in the month of May. We're not finished planning yet, but in addition to our regular monthly activities like our bingo, pickleball, art, exercise classes, billiards, card games, and lunch, on May 1st, we have the Council on Aging Spring Fling Picnic in Carrollton. On May the 2nd, we will be kicking off our Older Americans Month there at the Senior Center. On May the 8th, we will have our annual Outdoor Senior Fun and Fitness Day. And this is a field day of obstacle courses, relay races, and other games. This event is open to any senior over the age of 55 in the community. On May the 9th, we will have our Area Agency on Aging picnic at the Pavilion on Oak Mountain in Carrollton. On May the 13th will be the senior prom. On May the 15th, we'll be hosting a comedy dinner. On May the 20th, the Shrine Circus at Jim R. Miller Park in Marietta. On May the 30th is a Mother's Day tea, and we still have a dinner trip, a day trip, and a lot more activities to poke into the month. So a lot of things going on for our seniors, and they're loving it. Our numbers are growing, and we just appreciate y'all supporting us in this.
Thank you for what you do with the seniors.
Thank you. It's a passion. Okay.
Want to do a picture? We got a proclamation.
We have a few here with us.
Oh, good. So bring everybody. Let's get some people over on this side too. Here, go ahead. Take that. Maybe, yeah, hand me the extra one. Okay. You might know I'm speaking. I have to everyone else. Yes, that was yours. You have just a few activities, don't you? Yes. Yeah, let's see how we manage this. All right. I'm tall, but I don't know. Let's see. Oh. Oh, there we go. Okay. That work? Yep. All right. Everyone smile. Thank you so much. Can you take a picture whenever? Thank you. Now to recognize the people we put a lot of pressure on, sometime on a daily basis, and in between meetings and everything else. Whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of professional municipal clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the professional municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens and the local governing bodies and agencies of the government at all levels, and whereas the professional municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas the professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas the professional municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the office of the professional municipal clerk through participation in educational programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meeting of their state, provincial, county, and international professional organizations, and whereas the professional municipal clerks perform vital services and represent exemplary dedication to their communities, and the state of Georgia recognizes the importance of those who serve in this office now. Therefore, I, Leslie McPherson, Mayor of the City of Villa Rica, do hereby proclaim May 4 through 10, 2025 as Professional Municipal Clerks Week in Villa Rica. Who does the picture when you all are up here? I forgot Shirley wasn't going to be here. Oh, yeah. All right, here we go. Thank you. Ladies. Okay, y'all, one more, and this is a very important one as well. Child Abuse Prevention Month proclamation. Whereas children are both Villa Rica's most valuable and vulnerable resource and are vital to our future success, prosperity, and quality of life. And whereas child abuse and maltreatment can be prevented by supporting and strengthening Villa Rica's families, whatever their makeup, and whereas all children in Villa Rica deserve to have the safe, stable, nurturing homes and communities which they need to foster healthy growth and development. And whereas effective child abuse and maltreatment response and prevention are both a community responsibility and succeed because of partnerships among citizens, human service or agencies, schools, faith communities, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community, and whereas by providing a safe, stable, and nurturing environment for our children, free of violence, abuse, neglect, or maltreatment, we can ensure Villa Rica's children will grow to their full potential. And whereas West Georgia Child Advocacy Center champions the needs of sexually, physically, and emotionally abused children in Villa Rica through prevention, intervention, therapy, collaboration, and healing, and through partnership with local agencies, is uniquely positioned to facilitate a multidisciplinary team response now. Therefore, we, the City of Villa Rica, Georgia, do hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month and call upon all citizens, community agencies, faith groups, healthcare providers, civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, elected leaders, and businesses to increase their participation in our efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live. We do have a representative. Come on.
Awesome. Good morning or good afternoon. My name is Desiree Kendricks. I am the program manager at the West Georgia Child Advocacy Center. First, I'd like to start by thanking our multidisciplinary team members, the Department of Family and Children Services, the District Attorney, and the Victim Witness Program, school social workers, the Department of Juvenile Justice, and of course, all law enforcement entities. We would also like to acknowledge and celebrate our community nonprofit partners who provide important services to the children and families here in Carroll County, including but not limited to the Family Connections, CASA, PARC, the domestic violence shelters, and so many more. Listening to children matters, hearing children heals. West Georgia Child Advocacy Center serves Heard, Haralson, Carroll counties, working with victims who are children and who are cognitively adolescent who experience sexual, physical, or emotional abuse, as well as those who have been a witness to a crime. We are an accredited member of the National Children's Alliance and the Children's Advocacy Centers of Georgia, or the CACGA. Globally, 1 in 5 girls and 1 in 20 boys is a victim of child sexual abuse. In the USA, a report of child abuse is made every 10 seconds. In the USA, an estimated 638,000 children are confirmed victims of child abuse or neglect each year. In the U.S., an estimated 4 children die every day from child abuse and neglect. 70% of those are children under the age of 3. In the USA, 86% of children who are sexually abused are victimized by someone they knew. Stranger danger is not the norm. In Georgia, a child is more likely to be a victim of CSEC, commercial sexual exploitation of children, or child sex trafficking, than they are to be in a serious traffic accident. At your Child Advocacy Center, we conducted 400 plus forensic interviews per year. That's over 400, nearly 450 children. That's over 1 per day. We believe every child deserves a safe environment to share their story, receive quality care, and resources to support what may be long, challenging journey to fully healing their complex traumatic experience. Your Child Advocacy Center exists to champion the needs of sexually, physically, and emotionally abused children in Carroll, Haralson, and Heard counties through prevention, intervention, therapy, collaboration, and healing. A forensic interview is a structured, fact-finding conversation conducted by a specially trained professional with a child who is a suspected victim or a witness of abuse or neglect, designed to elicit detailed information in a safe, supportive environment, often used as evidence in legal proceedings. We opened in 2012. Since then, we have performed over 4,000 interviews of children in West Georgia. Approximately 60 of those children referred for interviews/services are due to allegations of sexual abuse. The remainder are severe physical or witness to child sexual or physical abuse and witness to criminal activities. Last year, in 2024, we provided over 3,500 services to clients, children, and their non-offending caregivers. The CAC provides family and child advocacy services to every client we see, and on-site evidence-based trauma-focused therapy, and on-site forensic medical services through our sexual assault nurse examiner program. To the children that we see and the others in the community that cannot find or access care, all free of charge. We endeavor to be a one-stop shop. Thank you for your continued support. Please reach out to us to learn more about how your CAC is making an impact in your community. Remember, listening to children matters, healing children heals. Hearing children heals. Thank you.
Thank you for coming tonight. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Have a motion to have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you.
That is unanimous.
We are going to move into public comment portion of the meeting. There was a sign-up sheet as you entered the council chambers. As you come to the podium, please state your name and address for the record, along with if you are a city resident. Each individual will be given 3 minutes to speak. Those addressing the mayor and council may feel free to speak openly on the matter that you wish to bring to our attention, but we ask that you do so in a respectful manner, refraining from any uncivil discourse. As an elected body, we do not typically engage in debate or question and answer during the public comment. This is your time. However, if your questions or concerns necessitate a response from the staff level, we can answer you via email and often even after the meeting if you're still here. And some of us and staff are around can answer questions or concerns at that time. Otherwise, we will answer you in an email, make sure we have your contact information. As your elected officials, we value the opportunity to hear from citizens and those who have a vested interest in our city. David Taylor. Name and address, and if you're a city resident, and you have 3 minutes, sir.
My name is David Taylor. I live at 2120 Osprey Cove, Villa Rica, Georgia. That's in Mirror Lake. We've had a paving people to come out, and they have paved the main road all the way through our subdivision, all the way to the end. And they did a wonderful job. And then this other guy come back, and he made the speed bumps, and he also done a wonderful job. The problem of it is they are 7 different crosswalks from the front to the end, and there's no signage. There's nothing on the road that says it is a crosswalk, and that presents a problem because the other day I was going to the gym, and I know to stop for people. Okay, I know where the crosswalks were. So I stopped for these people, and they started to cross, and this other car coming toward me just kept right on going. So we need some kind of signage, whether it's on the ground, in the air, something, because somebody's going to get killed on one of them crosswalks.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And
We've
that's
got a
it.
notation.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alita Farmer.
Good evening. Alita Farmer, representing 216 Anderson Road, Villa Rica, Georgia. Addressing council and mayor.
City resident, yes, ma'am?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Addressing council and mayor. I am so thankful that today, and I made a point to make a note of that you did a proclamation for month of May for Older Americans Month. And the reason why this is very important to me is because, one, I'm a caregiver to my 81-year-old father, but also I have been assisting my neighbors who are older citizens of Villa Rica who have been here their entire life. And the fact that the city can recognize the importance of what the needs are for older people, it is kind of disappointing that the city council and mayor has not taken in consideration how the impact of the road or the dog park or the walking trails will have an impact on these older people. So for the ones that don't know, most of those individuals that live in that community are have below income level, and they will have a hard time finding housing. The senior citizen senior citizen development that you have put inside of the city of Villa Rica does not make it affordable for any of them to move. Majority of those placements are over $4,000 a month. $9 for every service that they ask. $9 for every service that they typically ask for to be performed. So I ask you, City Council, if older adults and people matter to the city of Villa Rica, as you say it does, take in consideration the displacement that you will have on these individuals that reside in that community. I am representing Ward 1, and I want you to think about the hardship, because homelessness in Georgia is at the highest right now. And I hope that you never have to be in that situation.
Thank you, ma'am. Pamela White.
Pamela White, 102 Anderson Road, Cedar Villa, Rica. I want to point out the common denominator to the city's problem, in my opinion. It leads back to some of the mayor's former predecessors and current mayor and some council that knew that they didn't own land that they willfully put into contracts to developers and received grant money from government entities, some which was rescinded. You write a check, you must have sufficient funds in your account for the check to clear. When you don't, the bank will notify you of your overdraft, and attached will be a penalty. This is done to correct your behavior of your spending in your accounts to deter you from making that type of action again. The city of Villa Rica has written a bad check on the backs of our community. That was insufficient, but with bad intent. The sneaky meetings and the unwillfulness to take the loss to continue to part way is unempathetic and motivated, in my opinion, by egotistical behavior, greed, and racism. We got to have this conversation because it's all of truth. This behavior has to stop, and it has to stop with this administration. Another concern I, along with many others, share is the continued lack of transparency from the elected and some appointed officials employed by the city of Villa Rica. Answers to our concerns, if any, are vague and baseless, leading us nowhere. We want answers. Another concern is the ethics board. As it was explained to us in the special call meeting, it's useless and has no ability to hold anyone accountable. The city needs to provide all outside entities that can hold the elected officials accountable for their unethical behavior and possible criminal actions. I want to point out that we've come here for, going on a couple of years now, and nothing has changed. You all seem to have become resistant to us just coming and talking. Right now, that's all we can do. But we want the entities that we can make sure that everybody on this council, mayor, we want everybody to be held accountable, because it's disheartening when they say we are.
Thank you, ma'am. Amy McCoy?
Okay.
Amy McCoy, 9938 Ashton Old Road in Douglasville. Today, I'm here to regarding serious concerns about financial transparency, fair representation, and proper use of tax allocation district funds in the city of Villa Rica. I'm formally requesting, which you should have received in email, copies of the contracts with Bass and Associates, now operating as Bass Appraisal, according to the recent Times Georgia article, and Teal Education and Engineering Consulting LLC. After reviewing receipts, I found charges approximately $1,800 per property for 13 appraisals that were completed. Based on my research using CompFlow showing no record that these appraisals were ever conducted, yet there are receipts for payments. This cost is excessive, far more than any typical charged for appraisal, even for million-dollar properties, and raises red flags about the validity of these payments. Meanwhile, I received a letter from your city attorney back in August of 2024 stating that my representation of homeowners during a city-led land acquisition was a violation of Georgia Gratuities Clause, which I found no such clause associated with the real estate representation. This directly conflicts a clause in the redevelopment plan labeled under contractual relationships. Yet, questionable payments to third-party vendors were approved without similar scrutiny. My client was denied the right to representation while taxpayer funds are being spent with little to no accountability. That is not just wrong, it is unjust. According to Exhibit B of the city's IGA, TAD funds are to be used exclusively for the constructing of Mirror Lake Connector and Shoreline to North Carroll Road. Yet financial records I reviewed showed TAD funds supporting multiple unrelated projects, including water and sewer improvements on the North Bypass. I'm requesting an explanation of these deviations and a copy of the January 2025 comprehensive TAD report that was due to the Board of Commissioners, along with all public notices for the special called meetings on December 7th of 2020, May 12th and 23rd of 2020, August 18th and 22nd of 2023. Finally, I'm requesting transparency on when and how the boundaries of the TAD were changed and how these decisions were made. As residents and as these residents and taxpayers, they deserve transparency, fairness, and a government that is accountable to its people, not just the developers and the vendors. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Josh Evans. Doug Lang.
Sorry. Doug Lang, 262 South Cowell Road, here in downtown Villa Rica. So recently, there's been all over social media and in the news about the fines from Georgia Ethics and the fines from Georgia Ethics. And I don't want to get into the detail of that, but I'm more concerned with why. What made Georgia Ethics come to Villa Rica? I don't know if it's a lottery system, it's done randomly, I don't know what it is, but it just makes me think of, just like why. And I just want to say that, since I've announced or filed my DOI or, running for candidate, I've been notified by Georgia Ethics that a complaint was filed or an inquiry was filed by someone from the city about my dealings. And so I went through an audit of my own, which turned out to have no fine attached to it. But it did give me some feeling or understanding of the complexity of that. So I'm not really focused on the fines or anything like that. But again, what made them come here? So I just went through a couple things about like news and kind of wasted my time, but what made them come? So for a small town, we've been in the news an awful lot. You've got Fox 5 covering the reporting of alleged wrongdoing on the city for the Parkway. There's court documents that have been filed in the Carroll County Superior Court, again alleging wrongdoing on the behalf of the city for making way for the data center. There's a lawsuit alleging wrongdoing on behalf of the city concerning Hillcrest Cemetery. Some of this goes back a little bit. Former mayor alleging the current mayor of malfeasance. Some council members writing open letters in the news regarding then candidate McPherson, the city manager directly involved with an election against employee policy, 3 city managers in a period of approximately 1 year. Some would argue maybe some work or talk around the edges for First Amendment rights at city council meetings, a veteran removed publicly by the chief of police ordered by the mayor, an attempt to call 3 sitting council members, the creation of an ethics board formed by allowing the mayor and the council members to appoint the commissioners, thereby allowing the accused to select those that will judge them, even against the advice of the city attorney. The city of Villa Rica had another state agency, Department of Community Affairs, rescind $1.75 million, a grant, and I don't have time to the rest. But there's been a lot of things that have put us in the news, and I think that's what, actually I spoke to them.
Thank you, sir. Okay, thank you, sir. Ryan Clark, waiting for a hearing. Okay. Is it Marvin? Marvin Helton? Okay.
Marvin Helton, 204 Thomas Dorsey Drive. I just want to say about on Thomas Dorsey, they put the speed limits up and all, but it's not doing any good at all. It's just like folks still come through there maybe about 45, 50 miles an hour, and it's really dangerous. I mean, it's really got bad, and I wonder could we just look into like getting the speed bumps through there, because you got 3 churches and a school. That should be automatic, you know, to put that there. And speaking on the one-way going with Eleanor Walk, I really don't agree with that, you know, because I don't know the really reasoning for that. Could anybody give me any insight?
We will get back to
Okay.
you. We don't do
That's-
it during
okay,
this
that's all,
time,
and,
but,
that
yeah.
right there, but, other than that, you know, it's just, the speed is really bad. And, nobody pays attention to it at all. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, that's all the names I have. We'll revert back to the council for council updates. Yes, Councilman McCoy.
I just wanted to give a shout out to the Parks and Rec Department and I just wanted to tell this one story. I went and did a horrible job throwing out the first pitch at their end of year celebration. I did a bad job twice. And no wonder I never made my high school softball team. But I was out there and Tracy was nice enough to give me a jersey. And so I looked like all the employees, and one little girl came up to me and just randomly hugged me. And when I was walking back to my car, I said that is the trust that department has put in their that the children and the parents have put into that department, and they put into the community, that little girl knew, because I was wearing the same jersey everybody else was, that I was okay and I deserved a hug too. So I just wanted to let them know that I noticed that and I appreciate that, and that I was really happy to be there and see the community spirit in person, which was really great. Last thing I'd like to do is give out a shout out to the Mirror Lake HOA. I did attend a meeting. They didn't stone me to death, so that was great. But I'm kidding. They were great. They were very welcoming and very open to what I had to say. So I just wanted to say give them a shout out that I appreciate that.
Any other council members? Yay, Parks and Rec. All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. The consent agenda is a single item that encompasses all things the city council would normally approve with little comment. Each of these items were discussed at last Tuesday's work session, and it was the unanimous consensus of the governing body to place the following items on the consent agenda. Item number 1, keep Carol Beautiful sponsorship for the e-recycling event. Number 2, approval of J&M Tank Lines and Scruggs Company for a fixed asphalt plant to be located on the existing property parcel number V0301000037 that is in the industrial park area. Number 3, approval of three-way stop at the intersection of Thomas Dorsey and Daniel Road. Number 4, approval of award to the low bid from Magnum Paving, Inc. for the Main Street Plaza paving project. Number 5 is approval of the current Mirror Lake Boulevard left-hand turn lane design. Number 6 is approval of the 2025 Community Development Grant application from the Villa Rica Lions Club in the amount of $8,500 for the Sail On Beach Boys tribute fundraising concert to be held Saturday, October 4th, 2025. That'll be out here at the Mill. Number 7 is the approval of the 2025 Community Development Grant Program application request of $10,000 to the Thomas A. Dorsey Birthplace and Gospel Heritage Festival, Inc., for their annual event on June 27th, 28th, and 29th. That's 2025, and that will also be here at the Mill Amphitheater. Entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
I move to adopt the consent agenda. Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
All right, A, governing body, we have approval of the March 4, 2025 work session and March 11, 2025 city council meeting minutes. Do we have any changes or amendments? Yes, ma'am.
Teresa. I feel like I'm critiquing lots of stuff this go round down last time. Underneath the appointment with Connie Flowers, it lists right up underneath the voting that after discussion that the mayor had withdrawn the appointment of Connie Flowers. And the reason for that leading up to there was because the vote was, I know that I voted no, and I know that Ms. McCoy had voted no, and then Ms. Marchman had abstained from that vote. And then that led to the discussion, which led to the mayor withdrawing that. It was approved during the special called meeting.
Correct.
But in here, it
So
said that it's unanimous.
If you look, if you'll look behind you, prior to this meeting beginning, we were alerted to that error, that it was the duplication of the final vote was on in two different sections, so that has been removed. If you reload, it was occurring as the meeting was kicking off, so that's it. It may not be showing up on what you had pulled up originally.
It's just spinning.
Are you able to read the updated
If
version?
you'll look behind you, it's on the screen behind you.
But okay.
Yeah, it's right.
No. Okay. Sorry. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay, so, do we have a motion? Okay. If we're ready, then I'll entertain a motion, if that's resolved.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the work session for, I forgot the
Second.
dates, I'm sorry. But yes, the work session for March 4th and the regular session of March 11th.
And we have a second. All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
All right, item 2, Main Street Advisory Board appointment.
So I am stepping in on this one this evening, Diana DeSanto, interim city manager. And I apologize, the appointments are not here this evening for Main Street or the DDA. Just to talk a little bit first about the Main Street appointments. Both Ms. Gina Steed and Nathan Jackson were unanimously approved by the Main Street Board. I can read the cover sheet, although my nearsightedness might kick in just a little bit, but just to share a little bit of information with you about Ms. Steed. She's a longtime resident of Villa Rica. She is the Assistant Vice President Branch Manager for United Community Bank. She is a very regular volunteer at Main Street events, and she's very excited to be a part of this board. Nathan Jackson is an experienced lawyer out of Douglasville and currently serves as the secretary of the Douglas County Bar Association. As a dedicated leader in Douglas, Carroll, and Paulding legal community, he is also committed to serving the communities. Nathan is also a proud new resident of the city of Villa Rica. And I can continue to read more. These are the two vacant seats. These are the last two vacant seats on the Main Street Advisory Board.
Any questions from council? Okay, they came recommended to us from the Main Street Advisory Board. Council gets the final approval on this. They entertain a motion.
I move to approve the appointments of Jenna Price Steed and Nathan Jackson to the Main Street Advisory Board to fill the unexpired terms of Barbara Daniel and Susan Crane with terms of January the 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
All right, number 3, Downtown Development Authority appointment.
And this appointment actually came at the recommendation and very high esteem from Carol Tomorrow. This is Alan Martinez. He brings a wealth of knowledge, certainly from a financial services background that I think will help blend with other members of our Downtown Development Authority. We have a great mix of downtown business owners, architects, those in real estate, and I think having financial services will really help blend the board. And they're very excited. This will make them a full board.
Questions from council? I'll entertain a motion.
Make that motion for the appointment of Ellen Martinez to TDA.
You may read the motion off of here, because there's a specification on the term.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me flip back over to that. Okay, I move to approve the appointment of Alan Martinez to the Downtown Development Authority to fill the unexpired term of Barbara Daniel for a term of January 1st, 2023 through January 31st, 2027.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
That is unanimous.
Thank you.
Item B1, Public Works. Mr. Birch. Thomas Dorsey, 3-way, Eleanor Walk, proposed 1-way, and this does include a public hearing.
So we're here again to discuss this. So the data, we did do a traffic study on Thomas Dorsey, and the combined speed, I guess, came to the 85th percentile of 34 miles per hour, which is under the actual threshold for where traffic calming measures would be recommended. Although we did, being with the proximity of the school and so on and so forth, we did feel like something needed to be done. So we made the suggestion of putting the 3-way stops on Thomas Dorsey and Daniel, which you guys approved already, and then also a 3-way stop on Thomas Dorsey and Eleanor Walk. There was some discussion on what complexities that would cause or situations that would cause with traffic down Eleanor Walk spilling out onto 78. We did contact the school system and various other people as well as Councilmember Warmoth, and we'd gone out and met with them to try and come up with some reasonable solutions. A suggestion was made to make Eleanor Walk a 1-way. I do understand that that is also creating some heartburn. And certainly the other option is not to do anything, because the traffic the traffic study does not support any calming measures per se. So certainly that is another viable option, is to just leave it the way that it is. I do know that there was some mention on this excessive speed on Thomas Dorsey. I have the data in front of me, and I could tell you out of 6,773 cars traveled during the week that we did this study, there were 9 vehicles that had exceeded 50 miles per hour. So there are people that do that, but out of 7,000, just shy of 7,000, there were only 9. So that certainly seems to be something that could be dealt with through enforcement. But irregardless, those are basically our options. And I'd love to hear any other potential suggestions, but I certainly feel like those are 2 viable solutions. So that's what I have.
Let's just do questions initially before we move into discussion. So questions from council. Councilman Warmoth.
I know you had said that the calming measures, it doesn't qualify for the calming measures.
Correct.
But isn't it just like a smidge where it didn't qualify?
That is correct.
So, because I know after speaking with the resource officer at the school at Glanton, he had mentioned that stopping at stop signs were not happening as it was. So I don't know how beneficial a stop sign is going to be in that particular spot. If we're doing a stop sign in that location specifically for the purpose of slowing traffic down, there's already a stop sign on that road and they're already not stopping. So, I had a question, I promise. So what would qualify it for the speed humps? Or is this something that we can make a decision to do even though it barely doesn't?
So our policy dictates that technically 75% of the people that live on that road have to agree through petition to have speed pumps installed there. That's part of the ordinance, part of the policy.
Okay.
And then, again, that has to be the study done that would warrant that, and then the people have to agree that they want it. I mean, I wouldn't want one in front of my house, but that's, there's certainly their prerogative. And then it would be brought before you for the potential. Now, I can tell you the speed tables, just to throw cost at you, you'd be looking at about $24,000 to do 4 speed tables there.
If you did 4.
Speed tables.
So would 4 speed tables be what would be needed in
That's what Bobby
that?
had suggested when we talked about whether or not we would entertain that. He said that we would need at least 4. And we don't have that.
Well, that was my concern, was just not having it in the budget to do.
Correct.
It doesn't sound like there's really not a solution that is going to be beneficial for or resolve every one of these issues.
And I can't speculate that people are going to not obey the law and stop at a stop sign. I mean, stop signs are the law, and when I make a suggestion, I can't speculate that they're not going to obey the law.
Well, we saw them driving on the wrong side of the road while we were out there. So, I mean, there's definitely some law enforcement issues over in that area. I appreciate it. I mean, we could sit here and go round and round. It just feels like there's just no win in this situation. We do one thing and it will create another issue, and
certainly the suggestion was based on who would be least inconvenienced. I mean, when you're looking at the volume of people traveling up that road, dropping kids off twice a day, that's a major impact.
right. Well, but when we're talking about impacting a business owner, which let me just put this out. It was an oversight that, I mean, I will absolutely take full responsibility for that one, because I, in my mind, thought that there was another entrance that was on 78, and that was an oversight on my part. But it creates a huge problem for that business owner, and that was not my intent when we had discussed making that a one-way. So again, we put those stop signs there, and we're gonna have traffic backed up onto 78 and have the same sort of issues that we had with Bay Springs Middle School. So I just don't know that we have a great solution for this.
I would agree.
It's not what I wanted to hear.
And I was standing there with you, and it was an oversight on my part as well, so I accept that with you.
Thank you, Hal.
Councilman Carter?
Yeah, would you explain the rationale for making Eleanor Walk a one-way street?
The rationale?
Yeah.
So what happens is if we put the 3-way stops up there, what it's going to encourage is people go using Eleanor Walk as a quick shortcut to get in line, because traffic backs so far down Thomas Dorsey. When we were there, even without the stop sign, the 3-way stop signs, they were almost the full length of the road. If you add any additional traffic to that, with people thinking that they can shortcut and jump in the head of line, that's going to spill out onto 78. And so by making it one way, you will be directing the traffic in the opposite way and not allowing people to use that road as an access point to get to the school, to pick up their children or drop them off in the morning or afternoon.
Okay, it's one way north then, it's one way away
One
from.
way going, yeah, from Thomas Dorsey down towards 78.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman McCoy?
I was going to say, I know before we talked about some other issues, like making it a right-only turn or something like that. Is there anything else that's plausible besides the speed humps and the one-way and absolutely nothing? Are those the three options we're looking at here?
You could probably put a sign up that says no left turn between the hours of whatever, during school hours or something to that point. But again, you're in the same position with the stop signs. I mean, who's going to sit there and watch that? I mean, it's going to happen. And you can't close the road. There was a suggestion to closing the road. Well, even though the house is abandoned, that's still a property that has a driveway on that road. So if somebody buys that or refurbishes that house or does whatever, they have a right to use that road.
Oh, okay. Okay, I was just double checking there wasn't any other option. Is my last question be, and this might be more for Diana, but is there a way we could put this in? I know it's 6 months away, but we could put this in next year's budget. Okay. Okay.
There's also, if it was the will of council, because there have been other requests in different areas as well, to use contingency funds.
Or when we make amendments at certain times during the year.
That could
Because
also,
extra funds come in and we can.
So, I'm sorry, I'm still going, but, so is it 24,000 for all four, so 6,000 apiece, or 24,000?
Just shy of 6,000 apiece.
Okay.
Councilman
And
Momtahan?
that's today's figures, by the way.
So I guess talking about the budget issue, just to make sure I understand, because this is somewhat related to what you said, or to this specific topic, Hal, but I think you said that 75% of the property owners on the street have to agree to speed bumps.
That is the ordinance.
So even if we did have the money in the budget to do it, we would still need to get 75%?
Correct.
Okay, I thought
No.
that,
That's for citizen request. I was here when we wrote that ordinance.
yeah, that was my recollection
Yeah.
too, that was just for a citizen's request, that if this council wanted to install them based upon traffic studies or other desired need, that we could do that
I think-
without that 75%.
and I think Hal was saying if we didn't meet that study requirement, I mean,
Okay.
and I get a smidge, but you have to draw the line somewhere. That's where it would go back to the citizens to request it, because it didn't meet that threshold.
I think, but even still though, does the council not have the ability to
Yes.
budget and install speed
Yes.
bumps, even if it's just a smidge?
You can.
Okay, that's what I was
We
trying to.
just have
that's
to
what I was-
apply that smidge equally.
I understand, okay.
Mind if I?
Yes.
Go. What is the speed limit there on Thomas Dorsey? Does it vary across where those stop signs would go?
I think it's 25 the full length, but I couldn't quote that. It's
Okay.
25 at the school, I can tell you that for sure.
Okay, so if it were 25 for the full length, let's just assume that, maybe it changed 30. We had 9 over 50. If it's 25, I'd be curious to who we have at 40 and 45, because we may only have 9 at 50, but if you're on one of those sidewalks that has no buffer between the street, out of those thousands,
I would have to pull the full report. It doesn't show that. It just shows that both directions, the 85th percentile is 35 miles per hour. So the majority of the 34 miles per hour. The majority of the traffic is within.
right, and I didn't analyze that, but I just remember living on a street where if 2,000 didn't, but you had 100 that did come down that kind of speed, and your kids are on the sidewalks and things, that matters. I have a comment, but not another question, I don't think. Okay, 50, the 6,000 apiece for speed tables. All right, that's all I have for questions. I have something else to add, though, when we're done with questions. Councilman Wormuth?
This was done when school was in session, correct?
Yes, it was a full week of school and such.
So how bad would the numbers be skewed if parents are going very slowly because they're stuck in line in traffic? So what I'm asking, if it would be skewed enough, next week is spring break. And it may be a really good idea to maybe try again and see if those numbers would be different.
I don't think that we had it located down at the school. I think it was far enough back on midway point of Thomas Dorsey. I don't think that.
But that traffic backs all the way down Thomas Dorsey and is it East Wilson? All the way down to East Wilson to the townhomes that are right there. Like it is very much backed up. So I could see where it may skew the numbers. I'm just trying to throw out ideas here because I see that there is a speeding issue, but I just don't want to see us create additional problems where there are not currently.
Understood.
Okay, I think we've done, are you finished?
No,
Oh.
I have one more comment, or one more question.
Councilman Warmoth, are you done?
Yeah, I mean, is that not something that?
Yeah, I can run as many speed studies whenever you want. I mean, absolutely.
If we have the ability to do it when school is out,
Sure.
I mean, I know next week is very last minute, but if we have the ability, I would be curious to see if the speeding, if it would put us in the qualifications for the calming measures. Just an idea.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilman McCoy?
I was on the note, as I'm looking at the data, and I might be, this went 24 hours. Y'all weren't just sampling from
Correct.
Okay.
We put it up for a week straight.
But my thing is this, if they're being slow because of traffic to drop the kids off at school, wouldn't mathematically it make the percentage go up if you just did the hours they're not picking up? Is there a way to, I guess that's what I'm asking, is there a way to isolate the data and get a percentile with the,
If I could export it to Excel, I could filter it any way I wanted to. I would just have to see how I could pull that.
okay.
But I imagine anything's possible.
Okay, but I was just curious if that would, because as someone with a self-proclaimed left foot, is a whole lot easier to speed when I don't have a whole lot of cars in my way. So,
That's not an actual confession.
it's not a confession. I have the tickets to prove it. Yeah, I'm trying to think of someone who might be going 60 down that road, and it would be a whole lot easier to do if you get if you get a quarter of a mile outside your driveway, you don't immediately run into people waiting to pick up their kids. So I was wondering if it could be isolated to the hours that aren't school pickup, or even the hours school's out, to see what the percentile is.
I can look at it and see what options I have for pulling the data and how I can filter it.
Okay. I was just a thought.
Okay, why can't we look at possibly doing a combination of stop signs and speed humps, not maybe 4 of the other? And council has the ability, city manager made a good point that we can't just willy-nilly put them anywhere, or that it should be even-handed. In other words, what about other people that want them? So we need to have a legitimate argument if we want to do it, but council has the ability to place a speed hump anywhere they want in this city. That is the authority of the governing body. Now, it'll come down to, okay, what is the reason we should put it there? So there needs to be an argument for why it's important to have it there if it's not meeting the threshold. Council does not have to meet that threshold. That threshold was specifically designed for citizen-initiated speed humps and getting signatures and all that. It's really difficult for citizens to get it, really difficult, especially if you don't live in an organized neighborhood with an HOA where you can communicate. However, if council were to do it, it is important, I think, to make sure that the citizens kind of in that area have buy-in to it, that they're going to get a speed hump on their road. So I think some communication would be important. Just like when we're going to change, if a street was going to change to a one-way, you'd want to make sure everybody in the area kind of knew about that. That may be the way they come home from work every day, going each way. But that's just something to consider. And as far as the cost would be less if it weren't all speed humps and we initiate the stop signs. And stop signs, I mean, we could say, well, people aren't obeying them. Well, then let's take up all the stop signs. No, we need to have stop signs. And then we put enforcement behind it. Because if people are blowing through them, that's a problem and we need to enforce. But that's not a reason not to have stop signs because some people are ignoring them. That's all I have to say on that. But just so council knows, the will of the council has the ability to pretty much do this if you want to. It doesn't have to be tonight, just something to think about. Good. Okay, then we're going to move into the public hearing part that allows 10 minutes for each side, but in this case, it's the city that's already given the presentation. So if there are a number of people to speak, keep your comments a little shorter so other people will get a chance. If there's not, then there's a total of 10 minutes. Hang on. Yeah, it'll be here. Hang on, though. We have someone coming. Yeah. We probably won't have that problem, so I'll automatically recognize you next. How's that? Okay, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Ryan Clark, 277 East Montgomery Street, Villa Rica. I am a Villa Rica resident. I'm the business owner that has the drive off of Eleanor Walk. I heard Mr. Birch talk about the 4 speed humps and the cost and what's in the budget. I'd come up here with a letter that may, or not a letter, but notes that may be a little too aggressive. First, I want to thank Stephanie for taking ownership of the oversight. We all make mistakes. It's a matter of how we handle them after the fact. Just because people may or may not obey a stop sign, to me, isn't a reason to or to not install one. And I don't know that 4 speed humps up there is what we need, but I know that affecting another road or affecting the other residents that live at the top of Eleanor Walk or affecting a small business certainly is a consequence to considering a one-way. I can tell you, it was mentioned that the traffic had backed up nearly all the way down Eleanor Walk. For the past week, I've gone up there at school let out and parked in the church parking lot, and the most I have seen at one time is 2 vehicles on Eleanor Walk heading up the hill. Not to say that it never happens, that cars don't ever back up, but I can tell you in the last week there haven't been more than 2 at a single time during school pickup in the afternoon. I certainly, in the last 11 years, have never seen traffic back up past the side of our property that's there on Eleanor Walk as well. So I don't know when somebody may have seen that, but I haven't seen it in the last 11 years. Not a single time. So 3 speed humps really would likely solve the issue if you guys did one east of Eleanor Walk, a second speed hump between Eleanor Walk and East Wilson, and then a 3rd speed hump somewhere between East Wilson and Daniel. Those are your 2 main stretches. People can run a stop sign, but they're not going to avoid the speed hump. The speed hump will solve the traffic issue without affecting the residents that are up there in a negative capacity or affecting anything on Eleanor Walk. So obviously the other option, if you insist on stop sign on Eleanor Walk, it was mentioned already, doing a no left turn between hours X and X and X and X for the afternoon. So certainly other solutions with less impact than to turn it into a one-way street. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Lang.
Doug Lang, 262 South Carroll Road. So as I understand it, the options are, it was like no great answer to it, but there may be an argument from some that there's no great problem because it doesn't meet the threshold. But there is a problem, obviously, with speeding. So there's stop signs, speed bumps, and a one-way. So I live right around the corner from there, and I travel that area a lot. And I've spoken to, made a point to go speak to residents at where Eleanor dead ends onto Thomas Dorsey. Right at that, it's not really technically an intersection. But Marvin, who was just here, and Heinzman family, and a number of other people. And one thing that came up over and over again was not to have a one-way. So one, for the things that have already been spoken to, the impact that it would have on the business there. The gentleman on behalf of the city mentioned that the house is abandoned, but it's still a property and so forth. So I personally would feel more comfortable if the one-way was at least taken off the table. And I can't speak on behalf of the residents there, but I did speak to residents there, and that's one thing they all agreed on, is not to make it a one-way. So when they're coming home, I believe you mentioned it, Mayor, if they're coming home from work, so if they're coming home, they just can't just come home now. They've got to go from Bankhead to South Carroll to Spring Street to Thomas Dorsey, and they've got to, go a whole different route than what they're accustomed to. So I would hope that the one-way would just be an option that's out. Stop signs is another issue that's, a little, you don't want to not put them there just because people don't obey them. Otherwise, you take them out downtown. I mean, people run stop signs downtown all the time. But speed bumps require no law enforcement. You hit that thing one time at 15, you don't have to be doing 30 or 50 miles an hour. But you hit that thing one time. I'm not talking about the humps. I mean the bumps. You hit that thing one time, and you sometimes even avoid that road because I don't even like hitting the speed bumps. You might even find that it decreases the amount of traffic. So I would lean towards the existing stop signs, adding some speed bumps, which I think would be less expensive. That's what the neighbors also talked about, and maybe taking the one-way off the table. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak? I should have put it before favor and then again, but I'm.
Okay. First, if this was already approved, I don't really understand why there's a public hearing. Why we're here.
That was a different intersection for the stop signs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but with the residents that live on Thomas Dorsey, I really think if notices would have been sent out that this was something on the table that you all were trying to do, you would probably have your 75% of residents that would agree. Again, this kind of leads back to not giving notification of the things that the city is wanting to do. It's just like you continue to put the cart before the horse. I think with proper notice, you all could have made a decision tonight and probably could have, the council could have voted on what needs to be done. Budgeting this into next year's budget, it continues to put a lot of children's lives in jeopardy by not being rectified. So if you all would take in consideration, if you all need some help getting the approvals or asking for them, we'll be more than happy to do so. It is in Ward 1. We stand together, and we want to be as supportive as we can of this council. Safety should come first, but never in agreement that anyone's businesses be affected they should be protected just as well, but something definitely needs to be done.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak in relation to this topic?
Yes, it is in relation to this topic. I attended that school, myself and Miss White, and so I can honestly say that I am, as a citizen, familiar with the traffic that's over in that area. However, what I would like you to consider, because we want to consider less government, and so if that's the case, we have a school board, and I believe that the school board is capable of managing that. That could be managed with times, just making setting times for the kindergartner to be picked up at this certain time, then the first grade, second grade at different times, so that there won't be so much traffic on the road at one particular time. But maybe coordinating with the school board instead of just outright just going out spending money.
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to the addition with the three-way stop, and it also involves the one-way street? Might have to split that in the motion. Just to clarify, so you'll understand, as far as notification, it would not be feasible for us to notify citizens. We cover, of every topic, we cover multiple topics every meeting. So we can't individually notify everyone, but what we do is that's why an agenda is published and it's on the website and made available where people can pull it up. So anyone that wants to look at the agenda any month, it is right there available. They don't have to go to City Hall. They can, but it's right there available online. We may have to, y'all, will you please decorum during the meeting? If there's any more, is there more discussion up here? Okay, yes. Councilman Wormuth. Yes, we will close the public hearing.
Okay, so I just want to clarify, because there seems to be some misunderstanding as to what my objection was to begin with the stop signs. The stop signs, creating a three-way stop at Eleanor and Thomas Dorsey, while there may not be any traffic backing up to 78 currently, once parents figure out that they can jump right in line, going on to Eleanor and jump in line at Thomas Dorsey, they're already doing that as it is. And once that stop sign is in place, then it creates a people have to let those cars out as they're taking turns using that stop sign. So that's the concern that I have with the stop signs and creating a three-way stop there, is what I foresee happening with that is it creates you must stop, you must let them in. They must be able to cut right on in line. As of right now, the line people may be courteous and let somebody out. But typically speaking, I've seen cars bumper to bumper not letting anybody out. So again, with that stop sign, it creates you must let whoever is on Eleanor into the line. I understand that this is only during pickup, and it is only for 15 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark, where this could potentially create an issue onto 78. But it will create an issue on 78, and then we will have citizens coming up during public comment complaining about the traffic backing up on 78. Currently, what is happening on Thomas Dorsey is the drivers are going around the cars that are in line, and they're driving on the wrong side of the road to do so. I'm not opposed to stop signs. I'm by no means saying that just because people don't stop at stop signs, we should not have stop signs. That is not at all what I am suggesting. But I I'm seeing where the potential problems are with this, and I think that as an elected body, it is our jobs to see the potential effects of what decisions that we make. With the possibility of doing the stop. The other issue is going to be enforceability, and making sure that we have the police presence that are going to make sure that people are stopping at the stop signs. And again, that's what we need, is making sure that our traffic laws are being followed. But again, I wanted to explain where I stood on being opposed to those stop signs.
Does council have any opinion on if they weren't to put a limit on right only between certain hours? Anybody have any feeling about if that would be helpful or not? Yes, Council.
Well, the problem with that, again, is enforcing it. You would have to have an officer sit at that three-way stop and make sure that nobody's turning left right there.
Yes, Councilman Carter. Oh, did I miss you? Oh, sorry, Councilman Carter.
Okay, it's pretty obvious that we're not really ready to do something about this three-way stop or these three stop signs or this Eleanor Walk, Thomas Dorsey situation. So I would make a motion that we table this to the next meeting, give ourselves a little more time to figure out the solution to it.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. This is the time for discussion. Is there anyone that wants to agree with that or be opposed to that? Yes. Councilwoman
I know, I'm
Wilmoth.
sorry. I'm not opposed to tabling, but what's the benefit of doing, what are we going to come back with next month?
Is there a consensus on the one way? Because this could be split into two different motions, could it not? And address one of the topics if need be, if you don't want the two of them together in regard to the stop signs and the other?
I would be okay with just, my current feeling it would be to deny the one-way request. But I agree with Stephanie as well on the rest of it. I don't know if tabling it to next month is going to help, because if the issue is a budgetary concern, it's not something that we can really, a budgetary concern on the speed humps or bumps, however you want to describe them. I don't know if that's something that we can do next month unless staff can find the money for a budget amendment or something like that.
Okay, I'll withdraw the table motion, and we can split this up into just one item and forget about the one way.
Yes, Councilman McCoy.
So if we do absolutely nothing, does that mean we can't bring this back in a month or two?
You could bring it back anytime.
Okay, so we could keep everything as it is, which is basically what tabling would be.
Yeah, and in fact, this did not require a public hearing, but I think council wanted a public hearing to get public input on this whole issue. So this isn't something that required any type of hearing, but y'all requested that and we've had it. So it seems to be there may be consensus on one issue, but right now, I just need clarification. Mr. Carter, did you withdraw your previous motion?
I did.
Okay.
So, okay. I guess I don't have anything after that.
So Kevin or Diana, we could just elect not to take any action right now and just move on to the next item on the
Yeah,
agenda.
if there was no motion, the item on the agenda will die its own.
Okay.
Let me make sure I understood that if there's no motion, this item doesn't stay on the agenda, it just dies and goes away.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to call the question.
We have a motion to call the question. That means you make a decision now. Do we have a second to call the question? It basically means we're going to move on. So it doesn't say how you're going to move on. But, okay, so
How
we
are we
have
gonna
a
move on?
motion and a second to call the question. So the decision is, the vote is to,
Yeah, typically, there would be a motion to approve or deny something
Right.
and then call the question to end the
Okay,
debate.
I was out of order. I'm sorry.
So,
This is a new one for us. What-
yeah, I think it was a little out of order. If there's a motion, for example, if there was a motion to not approve the one-way,
There's no motion been made yet.
right, if there was a motion and a second, then we would enter the debate on that motion, and then that would be the appropriate time to enter. To
call the question will to end the debate
Right,
Yes.
okay, I see.
or discussion.
Since we don't have a motion, there's no question to be called.
So there can either be no action, everything stays the same, or you can split it and, you can make a motion to deny the one way. If you do nothing, it stays as it is. And you can also make a motion to approve or deny the stop signs. Those are the options before us. Does anyone see anything else?
So Mayor, if you ask for a motion now, I'm just trying to get my procedure right. If you ask for a motion and no one made a motion, then the item dies and we can move on, right?
Last call. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we move on.
We're moving on. That item dies. All right, item C, city manager, interim city manager, Ms. DeSanto.
They weren't expecting you to move on. All right. Good evening, Diana DeSanto, interim city manager. Again, kind of giving some updates. It's only been a few weeks since our last city manager report, so I will be short and sweet. Starting with administration, and Leanne's driving. I'm going to tell her when to launch, but part of this is going to be showing a little bit of the website that we have coming soon. Keck and Wood began working on the city's comprehensive safety action plan. We've had an initial meeting. We've also identified primary and secondary stakeholders, and the team of primary stakeholders held their initial project kickoff meeting last month, and our second meeting will be held later this week. The primary stakeholder team will be key in identifying needs early and helping us present options to the full community later in the year. We had our final meeting of the website content and editing migration team, and we'll complete our final meeting for the public service request team tomorrow. We are tentatively scheduled for our website migration to our new site to launch next Tuesday, April 8th, and our representatives are busy continuing to ensure our website delivers the content that residents expect and need. I don't know, Leanne, if you can. Yep. So this is just a quick sneak preview for anybody who's watching. This is our new site. It is not live. It is in a migration status. But we have there for you some quick links for what we think people will peruse our website most often for: council agendas, utility online payments. What we'll be launching with it is our public service request. It will replace our report of concern. We will have a tutorial on this one that we make available on the website as well as on social media. There are a couple of tricks to it. It's not quite as intuitive as report of concern, and that is a little bit more interactive, but it's got some great features. We've got our garbage schedule. We've got different employment opportunities. And then some other links. Yep. So everything you could want to kind of click to right away. Open records requests for just FOIA. And a couple, I think, for our police department. Yep, by crash for accident reports. And I think there's a way to pay your fine too right there. So tried to make all these quick links, things that people might want to access our website most frequently for, right up front and center. Next, we've got just a quick calendar of events. So we've got our meetings, which are these regular board and commission meetings versus events that you can easily kind of slide between. And yep. and then continuing down city news. This is going to really highlight some things that we try to hit in our various social media platforms, as well as, news breaks from our council meetings, big project updates, any kind of ribbon cuttings we'll have right here, and as well as information about how to get in touch with your elected officials. So again, this will launch next week, but just wanted to give everybody a sneak peek of what we've been working on. So our public service request team, they continue to meet as we are creating that site, which will be made available on our website as well as through social media. This feature will replace both Text My Gov and Report of Concern with its enhanced features to provide all items in one location. And again, as I stated, we'll provide a very brief overview of we did provide a brief overview of both platforms at our council workshop. And we will launch a brief tutorial when we go live next week. Only other thing we really have on the horizon is the volunteers for our GET committee are busy preparing for their junior reports to be delivered at the spring conference in Cartersville in a few weeks. Volunteers held a few community meetings at the library in March, and we are working on a housing festival to be held at the Mill on Saturday, May 17th. From our development services team, tonight, thank you for those who were able to attend. We cut the ribbon and officially opened our new downtown parking lot. The team is putting final touches as the staff is currently moving into the WIC building, also located at our parking lot. Once the final touches are complete and they start moving back in, we anticipate that to be a late spring opening. And additionally, our building team has worked with contractors that recently completed both pressure washing and painting of the chapel on North Avenue. And those are just a couple of pictures that really, really, really looks lovely. Some of the current residential developments that we have ongoing include Rivershire Townhomes, Phase 2 of the Walton Apartments. We've got Flournoy parcels A and B, which are townhomes and apartments by the new public shopping center at Villa Rica Parkway and Mirror Lake Boulevard that are in land disturbance permit phase. And currently we are reviewing various sections of both our code of ordinances and our zoning ordinance. We intend to bring some information relative to a provision of our zoning ordinance, which would include a water and wastewater capacity letter requirement. From our Parks and Recreation team, shout out to them for all that they do to serve our citizens. But last month specifically, they held the Under the Lights ceremony, as Councilwoman McCoy mentioned earlier. They also had a Pedal and Pinky's Tea Party, senior fashion show, and an inaugural hunting and fishing expo. Currently, they have summer camp registration open, and they will hold 10 camps this summer. Our development team is actually working with Parks and Rec currently. They're prepping the downtown gym floor, and that new flooring will be installed soon. The Parks and Development team are also working together to search for companies for the removal and installation of both new gym flooring and bleachers. They have 2 spring break camps going on next week, and their 3rd annual Grand Sneaker Ball is Saturday, April 26th from 6 to 8. And finally, again, into the future, the Splash Pad will open May 24th. April is a very busy month for our recreational services as well. We will host our first Art and Soul Festival on Saturday, April 26th at the Mill. This event replaces the former West Georgia Jazz Festival. We look forward to an amazing afternoon and evening filled with artisans and entertainment. Also this month is our Rise and Shine and Leadership Luncheon, each held on Wednesday, April 6th. And our very own Dr. Mike Badowski will be speaking at the Leadership Luncheon. Get your tickets now. Our Pine Mountain Gold Museum team is hosting many school groups this month and will also host an Easter egg hunt on the 17th. And finally, our library will assist in hosting a City Nature Challenge at Pine Mountain Gold Museum on Friday, April 25th. Join to learn about local ecosystems and help scientists understand our community. Also learn about iNaturalist app to document wildlife and plants, and you can also qualify for prizes. Last week, our Villa Rica Police Department hosted an advanced report writing class at the training center. The class was taught by Sergeant Spencer Crawford and included officers from Villa Rica, Cobb County, Smyrna, Douglas County, Carroll County, and Berry College. And over the weekend, K-9 Officer Early conducted a traffic stop for vehicle equipment violation, and upon further investigation, revealed the vehicle was in possession of narcotics. K-9 Early arrested and charged the man for illegal possession of a controlled substance and taillights required. K-9 officers' selfless dedication, early selfless dedication to the community and the Villa Rica Police Department has played a vital role in keeping our streets safe. His unwavering service and commitment are truly commendable. From our Public Works team, they've got some statistics over the last week. Their community service team walked 8.5 miles, picking up 517 pounds of litter. Fleet completed 52 repairs. Grounds maintenance installed 212 feet of landscape border at Development Services Building, and that also looks amazing. Our stormwater team inspected 23 stormwater structures in accordance with guidelines set forth in the approved Georgia Environmental Protection Division Phase 2 MS4 Stormwater Management Plan. And our stormwater technician completed and passed the Level 1B Advanced Fundamentals course hosted by MPDS Training Institute. Our streets team made approximately 11 asphalt repairs with our patching machine and repaired approximately 4 shoulder ruts in areas where traffic is running off the road with the patching machine. From our utilities team, have water quality concerns? Our teams perform water quality analysis at no cost to residents. Feel free to use our currently report of concern feature. This will be replaced by the Public Service Request app on the city website, or reach out to Customer Service Department with your concern, and we'll sample and analyze your drinking water at your property for you. Last week, water operations team members produced an average of 1.4 million gallons of drinking water each day, performed distribution system sampling, and performed quality control sampling in various areas of the system. Teams also worked with Carroll EMC on repairing the power supply to Highway 61 South interconnection and booster pump station. Our distribution team performed repairs on 3 water mains and installed 2 new water services. Teams also oversaw the connection of the sewer system in the area of North Woods 2 to our existing system and performed 79 underground utility locates. And our wastewater operations team treated an average of 1.71 million gallons per day, consistently adhering to all regulatory requirements. Teams also constructed a concrete pad to support the recently purchased generator for the North wastewater plant. From our additional partners in Douglas County, in partnership with the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and Douglas County Chamber, you are invited to join for the Douglas Business Networking Group at the Douglas County Chamber tomorrow at 8:30. The Georgia Hispanic Chamber's Business Networking Group events are known for fostering a dynamic and supportive environment for businesses of all backgrounds. This event in Douglas County is a fantastic opportunity to expand your network and explore potential partnerships. Leadership Douglas program is an 11-month program designed to identify, encourage, and develop leadership abilities among participants throughout community immersion and interaction with current leaders. 25 individuals are selected annually for this highly selective program. Applications are due by April 25th, 2025. On our Carroll County side, they've got a coffee and conversations with Richard Davis, president of Wayne Davis Concrete. You can start your morning with an inspiring and insightful conversation featuring a panel with Richard Davis, president of Wayne Davis Concrete, and members of his family. The family will discuss how the company grew and expanded since its start in 1971. The company has grown steadily over the past 50 years and is still managed using the same philosophy that the business was founded on. We look forward to seeing you there. And don't forget, later this spring, join the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce and others as they celebrate the 70th anniversary annual meeting. This celebration will be held Saturday, May 3rd, 2025. Reservations requested by April 11th. And finally, from our school system, I'm going to highlight our Bay Springs Middle School this month. Bay Springs Middle School congratulates Spanish teacher Mr. Caleb Hyatt for winning the Most Promising Teacher of the Year by the Foreign Language Association of Georgia. Also, 2 weeks ago, he traveled to Nashville, Tennessee to present at the Southern Conference on Language Teaching. He presented his session, Make It Fun, Make It Stick, Engagement Strategies for Middle School Spanish, and he was awarded Best in Conference. For being recognized as Best in Conference, he will represent Bay Springs Middle School at the Southern Conference on Language Teaching at the American Council on the Teaching of Foreign Languages National Conference in New Orleans in November. That's my update for the month. Thank you.
We're going to be moving into executive session. Mr. Drummond, would you state the purpose for executive session?
Yes, we would need a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of meeting to discuss or vote to authorize negotiations to purchase, dispose of, or lease properties provided in OCGA 50-14-3B1B, and also a meeting to discuss or deliberate upon the appointment, employment, compensation, hiring, disciplinary action or dismissal, or periodic evaluation or rating of a public officer or employee as provided in OCGA 50-14-3B2.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion passed.
I'll make a motion that we return to regular session.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we are returned to regular session. Mr. Drummond?
Just for the record, council did meet in executive session for the two topics that I explained before going into executive session. No official action was taken in executive session.
I'll make a motion we
Entertain a
adjourn.
motion.
Second.
All in favor?